Good afternoon. With a check of your markets, I'm Lacey Shippey on the Rural Radio Network. Grains continue to trade higher here at noon. Comments in the South China Post were that Presidents Trump and Xi would likely move to extend the trade truce when they meet in early April. They both have political motivation to make a deal happen, even if just in the short term, and that is fueling the soybean complex here today. There is some optimism back about biofuel policy as well. And corn and wheat are also stronger with some short covering and positive export reports from last week. Inspections for both continue to outperform the expectations. And exports for beef were down 21% from the week before, with shipments mainly to South Korea, Japan, and Mexico. Pork exports were down 18% from the prior week, with most sales headed to Mexico, Japan, and Colombia. March corn is up 3 at 4.30 1/2. May up 4 1/4 at 4.40 3/4. March soybeans up a dime at 11.34. May up 9 1/2 at 11.49 1/4. March Chicago wheat up 13 at 5.50 1/4. May up 11 1/2 at 5.56 3/4. March Kansas City wheat up 14 3/4 at 5.53 1/4. May up 12 3/4 at 5.64 1/2. March soybean meal is up 4.90 at 3.0790. Bean oil for March is down 15 cents at 56.89. April live cattle are down 77 cents at 240.20. June down 72 at 235.85. March feeders down $2 at 365.45. April down 150 at 363.10. April lean hogs down 235 at 91.50. May down 220 at 95.82. And Class 3 milk for March up 19 cents at 16.51 here on the Rural Radio Network.
Struggling with corn rootworm, equipment clogs, and costly slowdowns? Say hello to Opello, a new soil-applied insecticide from Syngenta. Powered by planazoline technology, Opello is a smooth, tank mix-friendly formulation that tackles rootworm with ease. Say goodbye to the past and hello to bigger bushels and better returns at brighterwithopello.com. Always read and follow label instructions. Opello is a restricted-use pesticide.
On the hunt for lost ROI? Chart a course and find hidden profit potential with Acuron Corn Herbicide. It's the only herbicide strong enough to bury competing weeds and help you unearth 5 to 15 more bushels per acre. How's that for hidden riches? Uncover the real value of Acuron at Acuron-herbicide.com. Acuron is a restricted-use pesticide. Always read and follow label instructions.
Is it time to make Nebraska healthy again? It's midday. I'm Steve White. Time for Top Ag News on the Rural Radio Network. A proposal called the Real Food Act is drawing debate at the Nebraska Capitol. State Senator and rancher Tanya Storr wants to create Nebraska's first state-level dietary guidelines. Storr says the measure emphasizes whole foods and protein. She says it would not override federal nutrition policy. Livestock groups support the bill. Seth Mitchell with the Nebraska Pork Producers testified.
Even though these guidelines are voluntary, placing them in statute matters because it provides clarity and consistency for how state agencies approach nutrition education while allowing that education to reflect Nebraska's agricultural production and food system.
Registered dietitians testified in opposition. They say national dietary guidelines already exist and raised concerns about duplication and confusion. The bill remains under consideration. Learn more at ruralradionetwork.com. Watching kids succeed. That's the fun part of the job for ag teachers. With state FFA quickly approaching, kids are busy with district contests. And this year, that means the addition of a new event in Nebraska, as we hear from Ansley ag teacher Ashley Jelinek.
And we have this year, we just added the forestry contest as a state, and so Ansley does have a forestry team this year. We'll see how they do. It's new for all of them. So
Jelinek says the fun is watching kids try something new and finding success that may even help chart the course for the future. Farmers, grain traders, and economists raise doubts about USDA data. Reuters cites two primary reasons for the skepticism. First, the agency's significant staff losses have brought questions, and next, the sharp upward revision in how many acres of U.S. corn farmers harvested in 2025. Thousands of employees left the agency last year as part of the administration's push to shrink the federal government. And some industry stakeholders are worried the shrinking staff limits the agency's ability to produce timely and accurate reports. Reuters said USDA's final January estimates of how many acres corn farmers planted and harvested in 2025 represented unprecedented increases from June's initial estimates. Already low grain prices dropped over 5% at a time when growers were already struggling to make enough money to stay in business. This unexpected revision prompted the National Agricultural Statistics Service, NASS, to launch an internal review of its processes for making those acreage estimates. So much of agriculture has been geared around feeding a growing world, but that mindset may need to change, as we hear from Alex Makovica.
More bushels per acre, more pounds per animal, growing more with less, and exporting the surplus to feed a growing world. But what happens when the world stops growing? That's the question behind a new research series called The Big Shrink from Terrain. The implication, the decades-long Feed the World growth model, may not define the next generation of farm success.
We are not going to need the bulk quantity of foodstuffs in the future that we need today.
This full conversation is part of the latest episode of the grain marketing podcast, Grain IQ, a production of the Nebraska Rural Radio Association with support from the Nebraska Soybean Board.
Thanks for that, Alex. And on our website, exclusive features like Grain IQ, Cattle Call, and Inside the Unicameral. Check that all out at ruralradionetwork.com.
That check of agriculture news brought to you by BGNS Transmissions of Grand Island.